because of their successful maritime trade endeavors, are also mentioned in these stories. And many of these stories allude to the importance that the Sadhavas and the family members enjoyed in their contemporary society. That means their social class was at par with any royal or any of the important people, because these were the people who brought in a lot of riches. What did they trade with? Like what were the commodities that the Sadhavas took from Kalinga to all these of far off areas? So this all we find in mentions from different parts of the world, like what was Kalinga famous for exporting. One of the main thing was the cotton and silk fabrics and weaves, or the textiles of Kalinga, the banda and other textiles. Forest products like timber, honey, beeswax, rotang, kingfisher feathers, camphor, musk, sandalwood, aguru, perfumes, and diamonds, gemstones, precious stones, all that, ivory from elephants and the elephant themselves, spices. So you can see all these mentions in different texts. For example, I have taken the Zhu Fanzi China's Song Dynasty one. Again, I'm quoting another one. Export products of this region, what it includes: kingfisher feathers, beeswax, weaves, fabrics, etc. So the textiles of Kalinga were like famous across the shores. In fact, they were known as Kalinga. The textile itself was Kalinga or Kalingam or Kaling textiles. And people even from Southeast Asian royalties, they used to send their convoys after our traders used to go and trade there. They used to send their own convoys to get such beautiful textiles made for them. Then did all these sadhavas do this trading just by the strength of their own wealth? Maybe and maybe not. Like, it is true and for the time. Like, true means some sadhavas might have been that rich or that well established that they could do on their own. Like, just like today's time, there may be one big name in the trade section who have, like, their family might have been already established and have the means and ways to do it, but not everyone, right? So in cases where people could not do it completely on their own, what they did was they took the advantage of the different merchant guilds or the Banika Sanstha. Now, these merchant guilds have been mentioned in many of the records from different ruling periods. For example, Somavanshi records of Janmejaya from Odisha talks about the Kamalabana Banika Sanstha. Similarly, during the Bhaumakara period, the copper plate inscriptions talk about Erappa Naik, who was a Vaishya trader. 3 villages were donated to him as a Vaishya Agrahara. It's a gift of village to Vaishyas who were primarily traders. So like that, there are mentions of grants and gifts where the perpetual lamps in the temple, the Akhanda Deepa, was maintained by such guilds of merchants who invested money and donated to the temples. Similarly, there were guilds of different occupations like goldsmiths, oilmen, milkmen, potters, copper workers. So name it, and there were like guilds. So the sadhavas worked with such guilds, and many bigger guilds and the royal patronage, they used to lend money also for a good trade. The most significant thing of all this is, these people, they didn't bring the riches only for themselves. Like, they just didn't become rich as a person. So this economic prosperity, this wealth was a collective wealth and prosperity of the people and the land. So mainly why? Because this trade brought in a lot of wealth. They were paying taxes also related to their trade and other endeavors. There were collections of tax at the ghata. Ghata is the boat landing places. There is like vivid descriptions in some of our folk stories of how even the girls and the servers or the servitors in a sadhava family or a household, they were also laden with rich and opulent textiles and jewels. That means everyone in that. And it is also mentioned that most of the houses in those towns were like so beautiful and vibrant and studded with gems, precious stones. And that in itself shows that the entire community prospered, entire land prospered because of such trade endeavors. So that's why I said collective wealth and prosperity. Now, there is a little insect. It's a very beautiful red color insect you find in the villages and in the different parts of Odisha. So this is called as a sadhava bohu. Bohu in Odia means like a daughter-in-law or a bride, or young bride of a family. Bohu. So sadhava bohu means a young bride or a young that bohu of a sadhava family. Why the name of an insect given as sadhava bohu? Because it's so beautifully, it looks like red, vibrant, and it's so beautiful to look at. The sadhava bohus, the sadhava ladies, were adorned with like vibrant, rich colored textiles and a lot of ornaments. So that's why even a little insect is named according to the sadhava name. And I was talking about the vivid descriptions in one of our folk stories, which is also like a vrat in Kudurkuni Osa's Taupoi Katha. Taupoi is the protagonist of this story. But the thing is, here I wanted to show that in some of the passages, they have described how exuberant, how opulent the houses were, how the people were dressed, how the Sadhava family's ladies, like they didn't even care for any ornaments and all, because the heaviness, the weight of those ornaments were like actually bothering them. So they didn't even care for such ornaments. Things like their prosperity is vividly described in such folk tales. Now, how do we remember about Sadhava? This one, we saw it in the beginning of our presentation. So, in Odisha, we celebrate two folk festivals, two heritage festivals, which are like direct, ode to our Sadhava heritage. One is the Kartika Purnima Donga Bhasa festival. Donga Bhasa, that means floating the boat. Donga is a boat. Bhaseba means to float. Boita Bandana, that means doing bandapana for a boita or a ship, or Bali Jatra, that is voyage to Bali in Indonesia. So during Kartika Purnima, we do this Donga Vasa. They will put little boats in the water early in the morning with different offerings like the betel leaves, betel nuts, and flowers, fruits, incense sticks, and coins, and such auspicious things. And we float that and say certain words, a ka ma boy panaguat hoi. And that is like, as I discussed earlier, it is like a direct homage to all these enterprising, brave ancestors of ours who took our name and glories to lands across the seas, and who brought a lot of like culture and heritage and wealth and prosperity to the land for centuries altogether.